or National Assembly if, and this is the if, backed by a valid court order or security laws. So that's what we need to prove now. However, if the cited order has expired or was never properly served, enforcing it would violate protesters' rights, which is the position that Sowore is holding. Essentially, the police can regulate protests for safety but cannot unlawfully ban them. So it's the word of the police against the protesters. While the police can do that, is it backed by any kind of law? On October 17, the Federal High Court in Abuja issued an interim injunction, the suit number FHC/ABJ/CS 2202-2025, restraining Sowore and 4 others from staging protests within and around several high security zones in the FCT. The restricted areas include the Aso Villa, National Assembly Complex, Force Headquarters, Court of Appeal, Eagle Square, and Shehu Shagari Way. These were the places they told the protesters to stay clear of. The court's decision was based on national security and public order considerations. In response, Sowore vowed to challenge the order, arguing it was not properly served and that similar restrictions have not been applied to other protests. Why now? Why this one? The police has reiterated its commitment to uphold the rule of law and maintain public peace, urging all groups to adhere to the court's report. They go to court to get an order restricting protest in set of the police word. Important is that we have an understanding of the existing laws so that we can tell when it has been a break. We take out lines. Stay with us. Hard Facts 92.3 Nigeria Info. Sam Chinedu here. The federal government has terminated the 43-kilometer Port Harcourt-Aba Road contract with the China Civil Engineering Construction Company, CCECC, over what it described as persistent poor performance and collapsing sections. Minister of Works David Umahi, after inspecting the site, said CCECC ignored more than 20 warnings and used substandard construction methods. He said the government will now engage competent indigenous contractors to complete the project immediately. Umahi ordered CCECC to remove the faulty binder within 14 days and threatened to shut down all the company's projects in Nigeria if they fail to comply. He also vowed to publish all warnings sent to CCECC and held airing contractors accountable. Okay. All right. This is the position of the federal government as delivered by the Minister of Works. Now, I said CCECC about 4 times in this report. But if you remember, and cancelled the state secretariat's contract with that same company. What is their problem? State governments are cancelling contracts. Federal government is dishing out threats. Can they do anything right? Well, the truth is, it might be unfair to entirely blame them because the two cases are not exactly related. While the state government, Rivers that is, did not state its reason for the cancellation, and well, people speculated that it's because it didn't follow due process, the federal government was clear. Substandard construction methods. In the case of Rivers, they never started work for us to now assess and say, oh, this is poor or this is good, right? They had just given them the mobilization fee. So the numerators are different, but they share a common denominator, which is the construction company. But my concern is not about the cancellation of contracts, whether you're state government or federal government, you reserve the right to do that, as long as something has been breached. I'm concerned as to how now we have to settle for our indigenous contractors because the great Chinese civil engineering construction company that initially had the contract messed up. So now, all of a sudden, we remember that there are indigenous companies that can complete the contract. That's what the Minister of Work said. So why were the local contractors not engaged from the beginning? Why are they an afterthought? Why is their job to swoop in and fix the mess that the foreign company has created? Or don't we have competent indigenous construction companies that can execute projects of this scale? If we don't, they'll say, okay, well, we are work in progress. And if we live in a country with a federal government that claims that it intends to develop and boost the economy, should our own companies not reserve the right of first refusal? Now, these are objective questions anybody should ask. But the truth is, you need facts to come to an opinion. So I decided to go and look for facts. I spoke to the chairman of Nigeria Institute of Architects, Architect Toku Fiberesima, who was right here in the studio with me last week. And I asked why foreign contractors are picked over the local ones. And this is what he said.
I really will not say that they engage foreign companies before they engage local contractors. Usually with big projects, there are processes like we have said before. So if you bid for a project, sometimes technically, they will tell you that technically speaking, the foreign contractors have the wherewithal to do those big projects. Most times with technicality, which means equipment and persons, and then also finance is a major issue with some of those big projects. So they tend to favor foreign contractors because of maybe their technical know-how and their deep pockets.
So you heard the man. The guys from China have deeper pockets. They are technically sound, not necessarily being better than what we have, but they have the resources readily available. And by that, equipment, personnel. The ones from Nigeria might need a little time. Their pockets are not quite as deep as the guys from China. So, what does that mean for us? Where do we go from here? He said,
we have Nigerian companies that are coming up very fast to take the place of foreign contractors. And these things will happen when the local contractors, when they are patronized more, because the more you patronize them, the more they have enough money to buy equipment, the more they have those deep pockets to be able to do those big projects, So, but we have very, very competent, very, very competent local contractors. Even in the building industry, yeah, if you want to build a duplex, I mean, you can look for anybody to build a duplex. But if you want to build, you know, a 30-story building, a 50-story building, even you that is spending the money, you might be a bit scared to use a local contractor. You'll be looking for people that have the expertise, that have done this before. Because one of those criteria, when they are doing the process, they will ask you to submit documents of things you have done before, so that we know that you have the competence to be able to do this kind of project. Maybe that's why it's looking like they are favoring the foreign contractors.
Okay. So you heard the man. Those are the facts. And that's very likely why the government always looks in the direction of foreign companies. And while that's the case, I still find the reason, I was tempted to say excuse, but reason would work for the sentence. I find it unacceptable because I believe that if we have the political will, these excuses, now I can use the word excuse, will not stand. So the big question now, what would this disruption do to the project? Now that according to whatever standard was set, the Minister of Works says the roads are not good. CCECC, you have to leave. Let our Nigerian brothers come and take over. How is that going to impact on the deadline for the delivery of this project? Are we sure that there wouldn't be another entire process, you know, for a company to come in, what Nigerian company takes over, and maybe this would be an excuse to abandon the project? And of course, if you raise an eyebrow, you complain. They say, well, we gave it to a Chinese company that did not do well. We are trying to ensure that the Nigerian company that comes in does quality work. I hope, because that's usually where we end up as Nigerians, on a note of hope, that this project is not abandoned, whether it is done by people from China, Nigeria, Pakistan, Taiwan, or Taitu. It is important that this is completed. And let our government consider bringing those jobs that our people can do to our people. For situations like this, we need to have the right of first refusal. It's a no-brainer. The final headline before I take calls. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it will conduct a mock accreditation in Anambra on Saturday, October the 25th, to test the upgraded BVAS ahead of the governorship election. The exercise will be held in several polling units across the 3 senatorial districts. INEC says it wants to test BVAS response time and results upload on the IREV portal. Okay, INEC, if you insist. But this is the first litmus test for Amopita. Let's see how he pulls this off. Nigerians would also like to know what exactly has been upgraded on the BVAS, because the stories they have of BVAS are not very good stories. But as always, we watch and we wait. It's time for you to be a part of the conversation. 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp is 080 903 06416. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. You can watch, listen, and engage. Please turn off your radio as you call. The headlines once again, if you need a reminder. Police warn protesters to avoid restricted zones in Abuja ahead of the Nnamdi Kanu protest. I wasn't the one who cued it, but I'll take the bless. I think I need it. Hello, Chinedu. Protesting is not a crime, but in Nigeria it is. Why warning people and tear gassing them? I'm ashamed to be Nigerian. What the police should do is to make sure lives and properties are protected and not to ban or arrest any protesters. My opinion. Enoch from Ada George says. And Fine Mind says, while I strongly support the protest, I think it must not be done at Aso Rock before it can gain momentum. Get local and international media official and get them to amplify your message. Even in the US, no one will allow protesters into the White House. When Trump supporters attempted to take protests to the Congress in 2020 after he lost, they were resisted. We know what happened. Protest, but stay away from Aso Rock and National Assembly. And CCECC is gradually becoming notorious in Nigeria. The minister should not just terminate the contract, they need to make refunds. Well, they are owing Rivers 20 billion. I don't know if they've paid another refund. What would that do? Hector says, as much as democracy gives people the right to protest, there's no law that says their demands must be taken. Shore is even making things worse for the detained Nnamdi Kanu. I think they should stop the protest and go home. That's from Hector. Let's take some calls. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is AJ, and I'm calling you from Port Harcourt right now, right here.
All right, go ahead.
For INEC, I think there's this saying that he who fails to plan is already planning to fail. So maybe that's why they want to, especially with a new chairman on board, maybe they want to check if, as they said, upgraded, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't tell Nigerians when they upgraded it. Thank God we are using this medium to know that it's upgraded. And I think it's a good one when you repair your car. You tend to want to test it before you know whether it's working very well or it's not working at all. Then for the cancellation, it's like this is not a good time for that company. CCECC, if I'm not mistaken, right? You know they are owing us 20 billion.
Only.
And not only, Sam, if 20 billion touch your hand now, you go renovate the whole studio there or join with the secretariat.
It doesn't matter how much it is, JJ. It is only.
Let them see how they can refund our money before they do anything. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I remember in my early days, I don't remember what class it is, but when my dad started teaching me about banking, you know, writing a check and going to cash a check and the things you do to get money in a bank. And he would write whatever amounts and write only. And I always used to ask my dad, why? Why do you put only after this amount? He said he doesn't know. That's what everybody puts. So he's just doing it. So JJ, whether you like it or not, it's 20 billion naira only. Simple. Ken from Ubimini. Hello, Ken.
Good afternoon, SOC.
Good afternoon.
SOC, if I may ask.
Ask.
Who introduced this Chinese company to the federal government?
If I give you that answer, will you not suspect me?
You know what I ask?
Tell me.
For how long has this company operating in this country that they will terminate the contract given to them? These stories, I find it political. They are calling it foreign company, but believe you me, this is indigenous company. It shows that the court had ruled out some places not to protest. I think it is a welcome development because there are some areas that need to be respected. If anyone wants to protest or do anything in form of gathering, they should look for an open place and not the government area, strategic areas where may give a signal of threat. I don't know if you get me.
I do.
But not to shoot tear gas and gun, according to the soundbite which I heard in the morning during the news hours. It is uncalled for the police or whatever security agencies to be threatening peace protesters with their ammunition. Thank you very much. All
right. Thank you very much, Ken. The information available in the public domain reads that the China Civil Engineering Construction Company was founded in 1999. Is that what I see here? Yes, it is. Oh, sorry, established in 1979 under the approval of the State Council of the People's Republic of China. That's information available, and I'm trying to get through to their website. We have 24 years of experience in this field. Well, I'm guessing all of that time is not good enough for... Okay, now I'm confused. I see 99 on the website, and I see 1979 on the China Chamber of Commerce. Maybe it was something else before they went into construction. But anyways, that's what it is. That's the information there. We'll have to look deeper. But as to whether it's owned by a Nigerian, these suspicions are valid because we've seen things like this play out. Sam calls from Port Harcourt. I've lost that call. Emeka from Elele.
Yes, my dear brother. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, those people protesting today, I say welcome development.
Please turn off your radio.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, but I'd like to hear you once.
So, how can an Yoruba man be leading a protest? Then Igbo people are there. They are busy doing their business. Yoruba man now, they have championed the release of Nnamdi Kanu.
I'm sorry, what does that have to do with anything?
Yes, because why I said why Yoruba man will champion it, which means the Eastern people are not united. I am accusing them that they are the problem of Nnamdi Kanu, not federal government, not judiciary. The opinion leaders, the stakeholders in Southeast, they are not united. They are frustrating that case in court. Let me tell you something.
That's just about enough, Emeka. I literally don't want to hear whatever it is you want to tell me. Now, while your concerns are understandable, you have to understand that Nnamdi Kanu is first Nigerian. Yes, I know the agitation is about not being Nigerian. And the protest is about the federal government not sticking to the provisions of the law. There have been countless court orders stating that his detention is illegal. So if you can allow yourself see it from that perspective, you will understand why the activist Showore, who nobody remembers is Yoruba, is protesting for the supposed illegal detention of another Nigerian who nobody also remembers is Igbo. One calls from Oyibo.
Good afternoon, Sam Oracle.
Good afternoon.
Why is it that when there will be protests, there must be a restriction in some certain strategic places? Those certain strategic places that there is restriction on are the places where motion to treat Nigerians evilly are decided. If are there places that should carry on protest, those areas, there's supposed to be protest in those areas. It will not be good for them to stay on those strategic areas and they push policies that will strangle Nigerians. Then when we want to protest against those areas, they will say no protest in those areas. By the way, if courts or if judiciary are functioning very well, they have given series of judgments in favor of Nnamdi Kanu, of which court, federal government refused to adhere to that judgment. Why do they even accept federal government that has been refusing to adhere to what is constitutional? Why did they attend to their cases in the first place? Don't you see how federal government are using our judiciary? Just as if people that are operating on that sector are thieves. They do not have conscience again.
All right, Wala. Well, regardless of your thoughts and opinions about this particular protest, we both have to agree that the presidential villa needs maximum security. And there's a reason why it requires that kind of security. That is the seat of power. So yes, you do have a right to protest, but believe me, you don't want to go there. And that is not violation of anybody's right. God's power from Rumudara.
Yeah, Sam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I God's power.
Go ahead.
Sam, the moment handshake has crossed the wrist down to the elbow, then you must be careful. Sam, there was a court order that if you must protest, don't go to certain areas. And when citizens that was bound to obey the rules and laws of Nigeria begin to flout the laws, what then happens? You must face restrictions from authority. Sam, I knew that this protest that Sowore is staging is for a reason. Because Sowore would have slept this night if the scene he has created did not happen. It is a calculated attempt just to show bravery in a manner that is not befitting. Sam, you will agree with me that if it was the government that flouted the court orders, there were negative reactions from the populace. Now, what then happened to a people that were supposed to respect the law of the country? A people that expect the government to also respect and hear them. What if Sowore have taken this protest to an open place where they will use the microphone and speak? Wouldn't it have gained the required audience? Or what is looking for in this country that we will keep on, making things and creating things that will look as if this country is not peaceful? So unfortunate, and I'm not happy about it.
Thank you, Gaspar. Promise from Rumodumaya. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother Sam.
Good afternoon.
Most times like this, concerning this protest, I begin to wonder if the federal government, if our government is not seeing it as illegal detention also. You understand? Most times I begin to ask some of these questions. But that aside, my brother, my major concern is the life of our fellow Nigerians, of our fellow citizens. In fact, it was until I heard the news, I was not okay. I was very, very, I was not myself because of what happened in the entire protest of the day. I say, God, this thing should not result to something else. But I just thank God it ended the way it ended. And most times when I plead to the federal government, I also plead to Sowore. Most times too, when you look at how things are going, you should also know that the quest for the release of Nnamdi Kanu or the illegal detention of the thing is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. Everything should be followed diplomatically with wisdom. Any area they say you should not go, please. Just because of if anyone dies, Nnamdi Kanu still remains alive. You understand? And I also pray that what Sowore is doing, that it should be something that is glaring and conspicuous. It should not be something that maybe he's been ambiguous about the moves he's making so far. Thank you, Ejeku Promise from Rome.
All right. Thank you very much. I have a break coming up shortly, but let's run through messages. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at Nigeria Info PH. Watch, listen, engage. Starting with Facebook, Fable Vic says, good afternoon. The termination of Port Harcourt Aba Road contract with CCECC by the federal government has more undertone than you can see. In this government, the more you look, the less you see. Fable Victor says. And Balogu says, okay, that doesn't seem like it's for this conversation. Let's go over to WhatsApp.